Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the launch of the DOST-Advanced Science and Technology Institute Virtual Reality Simulation application. My name is Therese Kilnat, and I will be your moderator for today. Before we proceed, may we please invite everyone for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. Once again, a pleasant morning to all of our attendees and participants who are tuned in for this very exciting event. We are very grateful for your time and presence for today's launch of the ASTI VRS app. Just a few reminders before we start the program. Please be informed that this online event is being recorded. Audience is requested to keep their microphones muted to allow participants to focus on the presentation. Participants may type in their questions in the chat pane to be addressed by the speakers and moderators during the panel Q&A session. For those who are streaming this event via Facebook Live, you may type your questions on the comment box for our speakers. Our team will be relaying them to the speakers during the Q&A portion. And of course, we would like to invite everyone to download the ASTI VRS app on Google Playstore by scanning the QR code now flashed on your screens. You can also search ASTI VRS on the Google Playstore and click install. To our friends from the media, you may access the official event press kit by visiting the ASTI website URL flashed on the screen. We will also be opening exclusive interviews with the selected members of our panel today. If you would like to schedule an interview with our speakers, you may reach out to us via email at media@asti.dost.gov.ph. For everyone's reference, this is our program for today. Just a bit of background, the ASTI VRS app developed by DOST-ASTI is the first virtual reality application developed under the Department of Science and Technology. This app aims to further raise public information and awareness of existing space technology and infrastructure in the country. So I hope that everyone is also as excited as we are. So to officially kick off our event, let us all watch this video from DOST Secretary Fortunato de la Peña for his welcome message.
A pleasant day to everyone. To our colleagues from the Department of Science and Technology, the DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute, the Philippine Space Agency, the Stamina for Space Program, our friends from media, and to everyone present in this launch, I hope you are all safe and doing well. Allow me to begin by warmly welcoming you all as we share with you the DOST-ASTI's newest initiative on promoting space technology in the country, the ASTI Virtual Reality Simulation application. It is apparent that the pandemic has pushed us to find more ways to innovate and exceed expectations to produce different emerging technologies, one of which is the use of virtual reality. Our current situation of having to spend more time indoors, reduce physical interaction, and shift to online spaces has in turn put technologies like virtual reality in the spotlight, especially in the field of research and education. Born out of the collective efforts of our researchers and developers, the ASTI VRS app is our creative attempt to bring space closer to the Filipino people. It features an interactive tour where you can explore the country's free ground receiving stations as well as our very own Filipino-made satellites, all in one free and user-friendly mobile app. As the Philippines continues its journey in the new space era, the ASTI VRS app will help highlight the potentials of space science technology by helping the public gain a better understanding of the big picture, all while staying true to the agency's mandate of strengthening and modernizing the country's science and technology infrastructure. We are hoping that the ASTI VRS, just like the previous developments highlighted by DOST, will raise public awareness and inspire everyone, especially the youth, to take interest and grow an appreciation for space science research. I am encouraging everyone gathered in this event to share this app with your family, friends, and colleagues for them to also experience this new and exciting way to learn about space technology in the comfort of their mobile phones. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Secretary De La Peña. Now, to give us a special message as part of our program, may we hear from the Undersecretary for Research and Development of DOST, Dr. Rowena Cristina L. Guevara.
Secretary Fortunato T. de la Peña, Director Franz de Leon, Engineer Alvin Retamar, Engineer Harold Brian Paler, Ms. Jo Brian Briones, Engineer Romer Christy Aranas, Mr. Roel de la Cruz, Mr. Mark Gerald C., our friends from media, colleagues in the DOST Advanced Science Technology Institute, co-workers in government, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Magandang agham po sa inyong lahat. Since DOST was established, one of our key objectives is to strive for a better and more conducive environment for research and development in the country. It is the essence of what we do as scientists. One important aspect of research and development is space technology. It was only in 2016 when we first launched the first Filipino-made microsatellite in space, the historic Diwata-1. It did not only pave the way, but also showed us greater heights that we can explore in science and how we can incorporate its products in society. Since then, we have seen how the use of space technology accelerated, and now it is a thriving sector in the country. A decade ago, we would not have even dreamt of harnessing data from space, but today we do harness data from space, and we continue doing just that for various applications such as agriculture, disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, among others. But all of this, all of our achievements in the field of research and development have to be useful to our society and contribute to economic development and making the lives of Filipinos better. This is what we are aiming for today as we launch the DOST-ASTI Virtual Reality Simulation App, or VRS. This app aims to bring us, especially the younger people, closer to science. Through this application that the public can download to their mobile devices, we are giving everyone a chance to explore our space assets virtually anywhere in the world. This resonates with us, especially during this time of the pandemic when we cannot meet our children in a traditional classroom setting. Children who cannot visit the facilities in person can still see it just a click away and hopefully get interested in space technology. This is what we aim to do in DOST. We bring science to the people. We hope that we can continue doing this for our other science infrastructure. We must learn to adapt and take advantage of the now digital world we live in and entice the youth to partake in science, technology, and innovation. Happy downloading and using of the DOST-ASTI VRS app. Muli, magandang agham po sa ating lahat.
On behalf of the DOST-ASTI, thank you once again, Undersecretary Guevara, for your usual support. Moving on, just a quick reminder to our friends, media friends and viewers, you can ask questions in the chat pane and comment section after each speaker. We will be having a Q&A portion later after our presentations. And for those who haven't downloaded the ASTI VRS app yet, you can scan the QR code flashed on your screen or go to the Google Play Store to install. Again, to our friends from the media and from friends from the media, the official event press kit can be accessed through the ASTI website URL now flashed on the screen. If you would like to schedule an exclusive interview with our speakers, you may reach out to us via media@asti.dost.gov.ph. Now, to know more about the ASTI VRS app, here is an introduction from Engineer Alvin Iretamar, Chief Science Research Specialist and Head of Philippine Earth Data Resource Observation or PEDRO Center, followed by Engineer Harold Brian S. Paler, Senior Science Research Specialist. Both speakers are from the Solutions and Services Engineering Division at the DOST-ASTI. Sirs?
Yeah, I hope you can hear me. Thank you, Therese, for the introduction and a pleasant morning to everyone. Uh, as what Secretary De La Peña and Undersecretary Guevara have mentioned today, we are going to launch a fun and modern way to explore the country's space assets in a way that also caters to our current needs in this pandemic. When this app was first conceptualized, we originally intended to use this during live events, such as the National Science and Technology Week or NSCW, where we can actually meet people face to face. Before, we have taken a few students on tour of our ground receiving stations and other space-related facilities in ASTI and UP. This was our inspiration in making the app. We imagined to create a virtual reality simulation that will require VR glasses so we can show young people who visit our booths during NCWs a thing or two about our space assets. We're hoping it will have this wow effect and lead students to have genuine interest in science and technology. But that was back in 2019 when we can still meet in large events and use equipment without so much as a fear of catching a cold. Now, in the face of this pandemic, we had to be creative and think of better ways to deliver content and, more importantly, inspiration. Of course, we still aim to release a version of this app that can be played using VR glasses, but we also acknowledge the fact that households are more likely to have an Android phone than a VR headset. And now we welcome the ASTI Virtual Reality Simulation app. It is available right now on Google Playstore for free. The application will feature our 3 ground receiving stations all over the country, one here in Quezon City, which is called the ASTI-GRS, one in Davao City that we inaugurated in 2019, which is called the Davao GRS, and the third one in Iloilo, made possible by our friends in JICA through the ULAT project, and as you've guessed, we call it the Iloilo Ground Receiving Station. Aside from the ground receiving stations, we also have a station here where you can explore the different satellites that we are subscribed to here at the PEDRO Center. The ASTI VRS app is our way to ensure that even if you are at the comfort of your home, even if our children are yet to meet in classrooms and field trips, we can still experience and explore the infrastructure that we have. As custodians of these facilities, it is our duty to bring it closer to everyone, especially to the youth who will one day become the future of space technology in the county. I do hope that you'll find the rest of the program to be informative and entertaining. I will pass the stage now to my colleague, Mr. Harold Brian Paler. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Ning. Okay, let me just share my screen for a while. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Harold Brian Paler. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Philippine Earth Data Resource and Observation Center, or PEDRO. It is one of the inspiration on why we built the ASTI VR app. So essentially PEDRO is a multi-mission ground receiving station and our gateway to Earth observation satellites. It was established last Q4 of 2016 and is used for the operation of our Philippine satellites, as well as the data acquisition from foreign-owned satellite partners. Moreover, the PEDRO Center presents a system and infrastructure that can securely receive, process, exploit, and distribute spaceborne imagery. Currently, PEDRO has 3 ground receiving stations, as mentioned by Sir Ning. We have one in ASTI. We have a 3.7 meter antenna. We also have a bigger one, a 7.3 meter in Davao, and the third one in Iloilo, which is a 3.5 meter antenna through JICA and the ULAT project. But afterwards, after the project is finished, this will be transitioned to PEDRO as well. So there are 2 main components of the ground receiving station. So the first one is the satellite tracking antenna. So the one on the right is a time lapse of the installation of the Davao GRS, and the one on the top left is the ASTI-GRS, and the bottom left is the antenna in Dumangas. Noticeably, in both the Davao and ASTI-GRS, they have a egg-shaped structure called the radome. This is used to protect the antenna from strong winds. And based on their specification, this can protect the antenna with Yolanda-like winds. So what does the tracking antenna do? Essentially, it tracks the satellite as it flies by from horizon to horizon. And during this time, we can communicate with the satellite and perform its operations. The second component is the operation center. This is where all the satellite operations takes place. This is also where we conduct our mission planning, especially if there are events like typhoons or volcanic eruptions. It has several PC terminals with its relevant software that is needed for the operations of different satellites. Aside from this, the operation center also houses the hardware equipment needed to translate the signals received by the antenna. So this is the flow of how we operate satellites. The first stage is the planning. So we prepare the commands for the satellites. These commands contain the instructions for the capture of specific areas. The second is the upload stage. So when satellite pass by the ground station, we use our antenna system to communicate with it and upload the prepared commands. After which, the satellite will perform all the commands depending on the date and time of execution. After all the commands are finished, a new set of commands will be uploaded. And upon successful upload of commands, the satellite can now capture the images over the area of interest. After this, during the next pass of the satellite, it will point its antenna to the ground receiving station and download the captured images. And after which, this will be processed and distributed to different stakeholders. So aside from satellite operations, PEDRO also manages the subscriptions of satellite imagery from commercial providers. So currently, the PEDRO Center has access to DIWATA-2, our own satellite, Novasar, which is developed by SSTL. We have COMSAT-3, COMSAT-3A, and COMSAT-5 from Korea, and the free ones, Terra and Aqua. We also have access to Worldview and GUI from Maxar, SkySat and Dove from Planet. And soon, when the MULA satellite will be launched and operationalized, most likely it will use one of our ground receiving stations. So this is the PEDRO portal, wherein our stakeholders can access all the satellite images from the PEDRO Center. So currently, we have more than 36,000 images at our disposal. And as of 2021, the PEDRO Center has catered to at least 49 government agencies and academic institutions. So we have given them different images based on their requirements. So some few captures or images that we have at the PEDRO Center. So we have this image of Typhoon Dante when it made its presence felt in Onjongan, Romblon last June 3, 2021. This is captured using COMSAT-3 satellite image. COMSAT-3 satellite, sorry. And then this one is the first typhoon that hit, the first typhoon of this year that hit the Philippines. So this was a capture using SkySat satellite in Tandag City, Surigao del Sur, last February 2022. February 22, 2021. So the PEDRO Center, upon its establishment, has been catering to tours and site visits from different sectors and academic institutions. This is where we explain the functionalities and the operations of PEDRO. We also attend several events like RSTW and NCW to showcase one of the space technologies of DOST. And however, because of the pandemic, we cannot do this anymore for the time being. So through this VR app that was developed, we still have this alternative platform and can continue to bring the GRS experience to you, this time virtually. So for my last slide, just a summary. So PEDRO is a multi-mission ground receiving station and our gateway to Earth observation satellites. Multiple ground stations and multiple satellite assets are essential for on-demand satellite imagery needs. Distribution sites are provided for government agencies and stakeholders to gain access to the satellite images. And lastly, the ASTI VRS was developed to bring the GRS experience to you, but this time virtually. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Retamar and Engineer Paler. I'm sure our audience are now even more thrilled in witnessing the ASTI VRS app in action. But before we go into that, we will be having a series of lightning talks. First on the lineup is a presentation on the Philippine Space Agency and an introduction to the Philippine Satellite Watch. Our speaker is one of the information officers from the Public Relations and Information Division of the Philippine Space Agency. Let us all welcome Ms. Jo Brian Briones.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Jo Brian Briones, and I am from the Public Relations and Information Division of the Philippine Space Agency. I'll be talking about PhilSat, or as my presentation title is, A Nation Bridge Uplifted and Empowered Through Space. So through the Republic Act 11363, or the Philippine Space Act, signed on August 8, 2019, the PhilSat is mandated to be the primary policy, planning, coordinating, implementing, and administrative entity of the government's executive branch to plan, develop, and promote the national space program in line with the Philippine space policy. This policy framework lists 6 key development areas of PhilSA, which are national security and development, hazard management and climate studies, space research and development, space industry capacity building, space education and awareness, and international cooperation. The PhilSA is also guided by our strategic directions, handily represented by the acronym SPACE, to spur scientific growth that fosters patriotism and accelerates national progress, to promote improved public access and resource sharing for the utilization of spaceborne data, services, and other related facilities, which I believe is the goal also of this virtual application that is being launched today. To accelerate the transfer and diffusion of space technologies and know-how throughout Philippine society towards developing a robust and vibrant local space industry and economy, to create a coherent and unified strategy for the development, utilization, and promotion of space science and technology applications for SSTA in line with the Philippine space policy, and to enhance the Philippines' official representation and contribution in the international space community for establishing cooperation. PhilSA is guided by the Philippine Space Council, or the PSC. It is chaired by the President of the Philippines, and its vice chairpersons are the Secretaries of Science and Technology and National Defense. The other members include the chairs of the Senate and House Committees on Science and Technology, the Secretary of National Economic and Development Authority, the Secretaries of Finance, Foreign Affairs, Agriculture, Environment and Natural Resources, Trade and Industry, and Information and Communications Technology. So the PhilSA Director General shall serve as the Presidential Advisor on Space Matters and Secretariat to the PSC. PhilSA is attached to the Office of the President of the Philippines, and this is led by a Director General with a rank of Cabinet Secretary. Currently, the Director General is Dr. Joel Marciano Jr., who also serves as the advisor to the President on space matters. PhilSA is new and is building from the ground up, but it's not starting from scratch. Through the prior efforts of the DOST, the Philippines has produced emergent capabilities, infrastructure, and skilled personnel in SSTA. These project-based initiatives since around 2010 led up to the establishment of the PhilSA and contributed significant milestones in space for the country. So among these initiatives and significant milestones for the country are our small satellites, which began with the launch of DOST-1 in 2016, now decommissioned, followed by Maya-1, DOST-2, and Maya-2. As for the ground infrastructure that is paired with these, and was mentioned earlier in the presentation of Engineer Harold Brian Paler, we also have the ground infrastructure such as the ground receiving stations. We have one in Quezon City, the PEDRO Center, one yet to be officially formally launched ground receiving station in Iloilo, and one in Davao. The PhilSA shall leverage this emergent capacity in SSTA in the Philippines towards further productive and peaceful contributions to the country and for the international space community. So currently, we have PhilSA has flagship projects, one of which is the Build in Space, or B3IS, and mobilizing space data. So as mentioned earlier, we have current capabilities in optical imaging, radar imaging, ship tracking, ham radio communication, and data storage forward. And in the future, we plan to have capabilities as well in telecommunication, intelligence, and reconnaissance, advancement in optical, thermal, and radar imaging. And hopefully, we're going to be able to build up on these developments. The major event that we're looking forward to is the launch of the MULA satellite, or the Multispectral Land Assessment Satellite, slated to be launched in 2023. So this will be the biggest satellite that the Philippines will ever be designing and launching, and we're looking forward to that. Our space research and development capabilities are also geared towards developing a local space industrial base. As you can see in the slides, these are the locally developed experimental modules aboard DOST-2. Not only do we use these technologies in space research, this can also translate into further use on the ground after being subjected to the harsh conditions in space. The PhilSA also aims to further the development of the PhilSA also further aims to develop the development and application of remote sensing, artificial intelligence or AI, machine learning, the data science, and other methodologies in producing space-enabled information to support the operations of various government agencies. Space data mobilization is currently being used in national security, disaster risk reduction and management, agriculture and fisheries, and other national areas of concern. Currently, the use of Earth observation and remote sensing satellites for economic recovery, disease control, and teleepidemiology for COVID-19 is being manifested by the country through the Space Data Dashboard, jointly developed by the PhilSA and the DOST-Advanced Science and Technology Institute. This dashboard shows the identification of objects and changes using satellite images, made increasingly efficient with the combined AI and remote sensing techniques. This enables the monitoring of critical infrastructure, the movement of goods or trade through the counting of vessels and other traffic, and changes in emission and pollution levels that impact air and water quality. So the PhilSA also continues to recognize the challenging environment that the world is currently facing, but that only strengthens our resolve to contribute to ameliorating the difficulties and uplifting the nation through our space programs and initiatives. And now to showcase local capacity in capturing, processing, and developing applications from satellite images, the PhilSA, DOST, and Stamina for Space are also jointly promoting the hashtag Philippine Satellite Watch campaign. So Stamina for Space will be posting, or are currently posting actually, images taken by the DOST satellites, while DOST-ASTI features satellite images retrieved and processed through the PEDRO Center. And their campaign, DOST's part of this campaign, is tied to the promotion of today's unveiling of the PEDRO VRS application. Philippine Satellite Watch streamlines and synthesizes these featured image posts under one unified campaign that features the efforts and strides made by the previously established SSTA groups, showcase the country's available space-based data capabilities, as well as the eventual transition of these initiatives to the Philippine Space Agency. So these images are shared on Facebook pages of USASTI and the PEDRO Center, the Stamina for Space program, and the PhilSA. At the end of each month, there will be a rundown of all the images posted and an article on the PhilSA website about each month's theme. So to sum it all up, the PhilSA envisions a Filipino nation bridged, uplifted, and empowered through the peaceful uses of outer space. Our mission is to promote and sustain a robust Philippine space ecosystem that adds and creates values in space for and from Filipinos and for the world. Maraming salamat po at
Thank you, Ms. Briones. So now our next speaker will be talking about the sustained support for local space technology and applications mastery, innovation and advancement, short for Stamina for Space, and its project for ground receiving, archiving, science product development and distribution. He is an information technology officer of the High Performance Computing and Information Systems Division, also from the Philippine Space Agency. Let us all welcome Engineer Romer Christy Aranas.
Hello, good morning. So hi, I'm RK from the PhilSA HPC and Information Systems Division, and also of Project for GRASP. So I'm here to talk about GRASP and how it relates to the ground stations. So GRASP is, we manage the day-to-day operations of the DOST satellites. So for this, we need a ground receiving station. So what does it mean exactly when we say we manage the day-to-day operations of the satellite? So for that, we planned Diwata schedule. So we select the targets which we would take images of. Also, we check the weather conditions on that area, because if it's cloudy, we can't really take pictures. And then we configure the camera settings. So for example, if we want to take an image of the city, we use the higher resolution images, which is about 5 meters. Or if we want a bigger area, we use our hyperspectral sensors. Or if there's a typhoon, we use the fisheye lens, which is the wide angle cameras. So once we have all those settings, we then put it we convert it into a format that Diwata 1 can understand, Diwata 2 can understand. So we compile that into some sort of machine language. And then once that command is ready, we send it to the GRS team here at PEDRO. So you can see in the background, this is the command center. So once the commands are in PEDRO and the GRS team tracks Diwata, and then they check when Diwata would come again. And once Diwata is in range of the ground station, they establish a connection, and then they upload the commands, so Diwata will know what to do. And once Diwata has the commands, it goes around the earth, picks the targets that are given to it, and then takes images of them and stores it in its internal storage. And then when it comes back within range of ASTI again, the GRS team downloads it and then forwards it to the UP Diliman team for processing, and where we try to get actionable insights or process the data for general public distribution. So that's where the science part is. So if you would want to learn more about the program, you can visit our website at staminaforspace.upd.edu.ph. We can find news articles about our research outputs, some research papers, and also the data if you want to play with it. So the data is licensed under Creative Commons Share Alike. So you can use it freely for any purpose, as long as the next person gets to use it, gets to experience the same freedoms as you did. So that will be all. So thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Aranas. So before we go to the next set of speakers, we would like to remind everyone that you can leave your questions on the chat box or comment section after each presentation. Your questions will be addressed later in our Q&A session. So for our next speaker will be talking about the remote sensing data science, or DATOS help desk. He is a researcher for space and mapping applications of DOST-ASTI and the tech lead of the DATOS project. Please welcome Engineer Roel M. De La Cruz.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'll be presenting the remote sensing and data science help desk, the DATOS project of DOST-ASTI. We already heard about the PEDRO Center that captures data from our satellites, both from commercial and our own satellites. Another facility that we have here in ASTI is the Computing and Archiving Research Environment, or the core facility. It's an HPC facility that we use in processing those satellite images. So I would like to start with this challenge. During disaster response and monitoring or emergency activities that use satellite images, we need rapid map generation. Sadly, traditional processes for remote sensing cannot cope up with those kinds of activities, especially when mapping very large areas. That's why the solution that we had in mind a few years back was to use artificial intelligence. So the DATOS project actually applies various methodologies. It was a directed research project by DOST, implemented in DOST-ASTI, that uses all previous DOST-funded geospatial projects and come up with support, geospatial support before, during, and after disaster events in the country. Since then, the DATOS project, since it already ended last February 2020, last year, it's been a service of the DOST-ASTI. So for the applications that we develop, we can use them in infrastructure assessment and detection. So we can, Sir Bry earlier explained that there are subscriptions that are medium resolution, high resolution, and low resolution images. So this one uses a planet imagery that detects built-up area across the country. So this is an example for Davao City, so Baguio City. So you don't have to digitize or manually classify these images. We've already developed AI models to detect them. If you are going to process, for example, temporal images like Landsat, you can go back in time and model how an urban area will grow in time. This is an example of 2013 versus 2016 expansion in Davao City. So you can now determine how large or what's the sprawl previously in the next few decades, for example. We also tried detecting damages from very high resolution images, and somehow it returned good results. Right now, our biggest activity actually is for agriculture and fisheries and resource management. So we develop applications to map seasonal crops. We tried them for sugarcane, rice, and corn using voice recognition machine learning technique to determine their temporal signatures and look for them across the country, to look for those unmapped sugarcane, rice, or corn, and develop a primary database or primary map, baseline data for all those crops. We also did prototypes of land cover from the 3-meter resolution imagery. This can be used by the local government agencies or our planning units to plan the next expansion or spaces within our municipalities. It can also be used in insurance or some other activities that needs the land cover or the land use of the area. We also applied it in mapping fish pens. This is an example of Laguna de Bay, and I think this is in Pangasinan. We also have another one in Bolinao. All of these aquaculture features are not digitized but already extracted by an AI. We partnered with the Philippine Statistics Authority actually to develop this for their Census of Agriculture and Fisheries, the nationwide Census of Agriculture and Fisheries for 2022. The same way, we also develop models to extract individual crops. For example, this one is a very interesting one. It's very easy to do for coconut trees and mango trees because as of now we don't know how many million trees are there in the country, but maybe in the next few years, in 2022 or 2023, we will already have good statistics on how many of them and where are they. We also use these applications in disaster risk management. In ASTI, we also have the sensors. You can visit them actually in fieldSensors.asti.dost.gov.ph and check for the datasets. So we use them to determine areas with high interest or highly likely that a landslide or flash flood will occur. And using our satellites, we extract the extent of flood maps. So this one, we are releasing them publicly, so you can check our Facebook page, the DATOS project. Just look, just type it in your search engines, and you can. We are releasing even the raw data sets, the shape files and KML files, so that everyone can use them in their studies. Another example of space technology applied is the landslide in Naga Cebu last time. Since we have satellite imageries here before the event, and the PEDRO Center tasked a satellite to capture another one after the event. So we were able to map the extent of the landslides and overlaid it with the location of houses and sent those data sets to our colleagues in Cebu City who printed them in tarpaulins and put them in the command center and used in the search and rescue operations. Using the land cover AI models, as discussed earlier, we can use it in assessing earthquake damage. So this one, we just delineated the land cover of the site. If you remember the series of earthquakes in Mindanao a few years back, I think 2019, we identified those previously vegetated areas that suddenly became bare soil as potential landslide areas. So we can do this in minutes compared to days, weeks, or maybe years in manually surveying location extents of these landslides. But using space technology and artificial intelligence, we can do that in minutes. We can also apply the same in assessing extent of forest fires. So in total, the DATOS project developed various AI models that can be used in operations for mapping, in object detection, and segmentation. Also developed time series analysis for seasonal crops and some other applications that were processed on by when the need arises. So since then, we've been partnering with the various government agencies and academic institutions. So far, we had trained around 17 academic institutions on how to use our processes, and we helped more than 134 individuals in their research mostly. We've provided data sets for 46 government agencies and some 6 private companies. During the implementation of the project, if you're familiar with the data brew, so we started it. We had 3 of them. We had another kapihan together with PhilSA, I think last year or this year. And we had 4 artificial intelligence for Earth observation training during the implementation of the project and 5 time series analysis workshops. So that's it for the DATOS project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer De La Cruz. So now to talk about the synthetic aperture radar and automatic identification system for innovative terrestrial monitoring and maritime surveillance, or SARWISE project, let us welcome once again its project leader, Engineer Alvin E. Retamar.
Thank you again, Therese. Thank you for loading my presentation as well. The SARWISE project is founded on the Novasar-1 satellite. It is a small synthetic aperture radar satellite combined with an automatic identification system receiver. So DOST-ASTI is actually entitled to 10% of its imaging share through an agreement with the Surrey Satellite Technology Limited, or SSTL. Now, this satellite can be used for the following applications: maritime surveillance, forestry, agriculture, and disaster monitoring, among many others. The satellite actually started the service over the Philippines starting the 28th of August 2019. So, malapit na mag-anniversary. Next slide. These are just some a quick look of the Novasar-1 service. So again, we received 10% of the imaging capacity of the satellite, which translates to roughly 3 minutes of imaging per day, or in terms of square kilometers, that would be 81,600 on a daily basis. There are around 4 passes per day. The passes happen between 9 to 11 a.m., 2 of them, again, at nighttime. And our scope of coverage is not only limited to the Philippines. We can actually take images over other areas of interest in other parts of the world. Next. This is an image of our coverage thus far over the Philippine area. We have taken a total of 1,422 images As you can see, the Philippines can no longer be seen in this graphic. And this is covering a period of August 2019 to June 2021. Next slide. In terms of AIS coverage, this is what we have so far. We have AIS data packets running to hundreds of millions, and we have detected around 94,620 ships flying our oceans and seas. Next. Now let me introduce you to the SIASAT portal, or the Surveillance Identification and Assessment Using Satellites. So Surveillance Identification and Assessment, that's SIA, and using satellites, that's SAT. Put them together, we have SIASAT. So consider this our contribution to our ever-growing list of innovative and funny abbreviations. Of course, SIASAT also means to research, and in this portal, we use this to request and plan and task the Novastar satellite. We also use this as a visualization tool to for the ships that we have detected, and we also generate reports for the users. Next. Now these are the agencies that we've been working so far with. I think we have around 18 or around 20 agencies, from the academe, from the civil agencies, and of course from the security side of things. And of these 18 organizations, 78 are actually registered with us through the SIASAT portal. Next. In terms of applications, this was mentioned already by Roel in his presentation. So we do aquaculture mapping together with the Philippine Statistics Authority for their AI for census on agriculture and fisheries. We also do ship and object detection together with the Philippine Space Agency. We help with detecting ships over at the West Philippine Sea, for example, and other areas of concern for the Philippines. And for DRR, we are also active in detecting, say, flooding in areas that were currently or where a storm initially or passed by. Of course, we are looking for other applications in agriculture and forestry, and this will be tackled by the project in the implementation of the remaining years of the project. Next. Now, in terms of media traction, we have made it so far in some news outlets, both online and on paper. Actually, we made it to the front page of the Inquirer, and my face was actually flashed in there. Made my mother and father very proud, and I think they shared it in the clan group chat. Yeah, beyond that, of course, we are very happy that we are getting the needed coverage, not only to showcase the activities of the institute in space, but also to the technologies that we are into are being used for these kinds of applications. Next. Okay, I guess that was, this is my last slide. If you have any questions for us, you can send us an email at sarwise@asti.usc.gov.ph. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Retamar. So last but not the least, our next speaker will be talking about the Understanding Lightning and Thunderstorms, or ULAT project. He is a science research specialist at the DOST-ASTI. Please welcome Sir Adrian Aristotel P. Delllagas.
Good morning po. I am Adrian Aristotel Delllagas, Science Research Specialist 1, and today I'll be presenting to you the project Understanding Lightning and Thunderstorms for Extreme Weather Monitoring in Information Sharing, or locally known po as Project ULAT. Let me start with the fact that millions of Filipinos are being affected by several calamities every single year. At isa po talaga sa mga calamities na lubhang nakakaapekto sa ating bansa ay ang mga bagyo. According to PAG-ASA, an average of 20 tropical cyclones enter our PAR or the Philippine Area of Responsibility per year. At kung matatandaan po natin sa mga nagdaang taon, mangilan-ngilan po dito ang mga naging super typhoon kung tawagin na nagdala po talaga ng malawakang epekto sa ating mga Pilipino. In 2020 alone, 12 billion pesos lost due to typhoon. So sino po ba ang makakalimot sa mga pangalang Rolly, Ulysses, Quinta? Tatlo lamang po yan sa mga mapaminsalang bagyo na naranasan po ng Pilipinas noong nakaraang taon. Philippines has been known to be the typhoon nest in the Western Pacific. This is a study that shows the different trajectories and paths of typhoons occurred in the West Pacific in the period from 2011 to 2016. So talagang daanan po tayo ng bagyo. Isa din po ito sa dahilan kung bakit ang ating gobyerno ay patuloy po na nag-i-invest into several research projects para lalo pa pong palakasin ang ating disaster response para kahit papano po ay makasabay po tayo sa pagbabago ng panahon. Hindi man po natin maiwasang matamaan ng bagyo, pero pwede po tayong maghanda sa mga piligrong dala ng mga ito. At isa po sa mga current initiatives po ng ating government ay ang pag-aaral po ng mga lightning occurrences for weather analysis. According to some experts, lightning has close relation with typhoons. There are actually several studies conducted to back up this theory. First, a study way back in 2007 wherein they observed the relation between the peaks of lightning events and the peaks of maximum sustained wind that indicate typhoon. This study was conducted around July of 2005 kung saan na-observe po nila na around July 6 to July 8, doon po nangyari yung volume ng lightning events, and days after naman po niyan, around July 9 to July 12, doon naman po nila napansin yung lakas ng hangin that indicated the arrival of typhoon. Another study was also conducted that shows almost same pattern and same result in terms of correlation between the lightning and typhoons dun po sa study noong 2007. These studies are very essential for us in our attempt to improve the current systems that we have for a better disaster risk response. With the knowledge po from those studies, JICA or the Japan International Cooperation Agency, together with Hokkaido University professors, collaborated with DOST-ASTI, DOST PAG-ASA, and UPISM to form Project ULAT. And DOST-ASTI will be the main implementing agency. Ano po ba ito si ULAT? Ano po ba ang ginagawa nito? Project ULAT is a 3-year research project that aims to study the country's weather behavior by correlating lightning occurrences with extreme weather disturbance such as rainfall and typhoon intensity. So this is a research project po that is more of lightning detection and collecting lightning data that we will be processing for weather analysis. Project ULAT has 4 goals. First is to establish dense and nationwide lightning system. So dito po papasok yung deployment of stations po namin. Bakit po ba kailangan namin mag-deploy ng stations? Our ULAT stations will serve as our ground-based system for collecting lightning data. And we have 2 systems under this. First is the dense lightning system and then the nationwide lightning system. For dense lightning system, these are the stations that we are deploying within NCR, Cavite, and Rizal. While the nationwide lightning system, ito po yung 10 stations namin that we are deploying all over the Philippines. Second, establish satellite 3D cloud monitoring system. So aside po sa ground-based analysis na gagawin ng project namin, Our project also aims to have a space-based analysis that will construct a system for 3D cloud monitoring. Third, develop short-term forecasts of extreme weather and typhoon. So isa po talaga to sa main goals ni ULAT na hopefully by the end of the project, makaproduce po kami ng short-term forecast system. After all, what we are really aiming for is to have an impact po sa disaster response po natin. Lastly, develop sharing information on forecasts to reduce disaster risk. Of course, we will be sharing the data of ULAT to the organizations or agencies in the government that are very critical when it comes to disaster risk management or disaster risk response. To discuss more our output 2, which is related to satellite or the 3D cloud reconstruction, the process will be, we will be using our microsatellites like Diwata 1 before and Diwata 2 ngayon. They will take series of pictures of clouds that we will be processing. But since more of 2D lang yung makukuha nila or top view of clouds, so basically hindi po natin makikita yung height or ibang angle po ng clouds. And using some algorithm and image processing, that's the time when we could produce a process image in 3D. So kahit anong anggulo po ng clouds, makikita na po natin. This will also be used for weather analysis since according to Japanese expert, we can actually get so much information from clouds. As of now, we already installed the antenna po of our ground receiving station at Dumangas Climate Field School in Iloilo City. And ongoing na din po yung rehabilitation ng aming operation room and server room. That's all po. Thank you from Team Project ULAT.
Thank you, Mr. Delyagas. So before we proceed to the most awaited part of the program, may we kindly ask those who have not yet downloaded the ASTI VRS app to scan the QR code flashed on your screen or go to the Google Playstore to install. Okay, so to give you a glimpse of the actual space tech facilities that we currently have at DOST-ASTI, let us all watch this short video. All right, so we all hope you have your phones in hand and your ASTI VRS app ready. We are finally about to witness the star of this event. We hope that you are as excited as we have been for the past few days. To give us a live demonstration of the app is none other than the main developer of the ASTI VRS, Mr. Mark Gerald C., to be joined by his colleagues, Mr. Mark Ivan R. Kamama and Mr. Nash Frederick M. Prado.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ivan from the PEDRO Center. And this morning, I will introduce you and my colleagues to the app itself, the ASTI Virtual Reality Simulation. My co-speakers will be Sir Nash and Mark Gerald C. So for disclaimer, short disclaimer lang po. So the image or the scenes that we will depict is not 100% accurate as the actual facility itself. So as much as possible, we did it as much as 90%. So to give you an overview of the tour, so there are three major activities that we will be exploring in the app. So the first one is we will explore the ASTI-GRS. It's located in the Quezon City. Then the second one will be in the Davao GRS. Third one will be in the Iloilo GRS. Then the last one is we will be having simulation in the mission planning operations that is happening when we operate the Iwata microsatellites and other satellites in the PEDRO Center. So without further ado, get ready to learn, explore, and discover. So I will hand to you the floor, Mr. Mark Gerald C.
Okay, so hi guys. We're first if the ASTI VRS app is made from Unity, which is a cross-platform game engine. And first of all, for all the gamers out there or being technical, if you expect that this is a virtual reality app, it was originally the plan, but midway developing the app, we realized that not everyone has VR goggles. It's not readily accessible by everyone, even me. So with that, we converted the VR game to a normal game so that everybody can play and appreciate the game with just your phone. So with the basic controls, it's really basic. On the left joystick, we have for the movement, and for the right joystick to look around, and there's a jump button. And on the upper right, there's instructions. So in case you forgot the controls. And sa upper left is the main menu. So for the demonstration of the movement, and the right joystick is for the camera, and the left joystick is for the movement. So if you see this icon, you can tap it so that you can interact with it. And there are a lot of interactable objects inside the app, so it's up to you to explore. And for the gamers out there, this is a familiar interface already because this is a standard control layout for most games like Minecraft, Roblox, Call of Duty, PUBG, and other mobile games. So for the visual tour, here is Sir Nash from the PEDRO Center, who is actually operating inside the PEDRO Center. So I'll hand it over to Sir Nash.
Hello, yes, good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Sir Nash.
All right, so thank you. So I'm gonna show you guys what you could see inside the virtual app, which you can also see when you visit the PEDRO Center in ASTI and also on our other GRS. So first, we're gonna show you here. We're on the virtual space of the PEDRO Center. So you can see, Gerald, can you tap the icon there? So on your left, you could see here a brief explanation on who and what is ASTI. So you could see here a brief explanation on who and on what we do. And on your left screen, so you could once you tap that information button from PEDRO Center, so it could show you a brief explanation also on what we do and what are the activities we're doing inside the PEDRO Center. So Gerald, kindly go inside the room. So inside the room, this is actually mostly how it looks like inside. So on the right side, right side of the screen, you could see here are the processing computers used for upload operations of our own microsatellite, DOST satellite. You could also see here monitoring cameras used to monitor our satellite antenna in the rooftop of the ASTI-GRS. Then also you could see on the screens that here you could see the telemetry dashboard from Diwata 2 monitoring. So you can see here the health and satellite once it passes through ASTI. Then we could also track here where is the satellite as of this moment, and we can anticipate when it will gonna pass by the ground receiving station. So here are the controls. This is actually the legit controls monitoring dashboard from the ground station itself. So then on your right side of the screen, oh no, I mean inside the, can you go inside the server room? So yeah, so you could see here various server racks. So you could, this is actually how it looks like inside. So these are all the servers and processing computers we use once we have downloaded the images from the satellite itself. Okay, so we can go out now. Then we can go now upstairs. So you could see on the rooftop of the ASTI building, our 3.7 meter tracking antenna. So actually, you can, before entering the radome, you can actually explore the surroundings of the rooftop. So actually, even the weather stations that is actually installed on the rooftop of ASTI is actually present here. So we're using the rooftop on testing weather stations deployed nationwide. So I think there's 2 on the front. Then here you could see the radome. So inside the radome, you could see our 3.7 meter. I think there's a typographic error here. So you could see here the 3.7 meter tracking antenna. So whenever the satellite passes over the space of the communication cone of the antenna, so it automatically tracks the satellite, and we can receive telemetry and other information from the satellite. So this includes the images, health, and other relevant information needed to operate. So yeah. Okay. I think that's all for the here. Sorry, I didn't forget to mention this. So these are the weather stations. So these are the weather stations that is used for monitoring various data sets regarding weather monitoring called protocol. Yeah, we have covered all the space here. Oh, sorry, this one. So you can see here in this small meeting room here, who are the project partners of the PEDRO Center. So you can see here the agencies that we have partnered with. It includes the Philippine Space Agency and other relevant agencies. And on the right side, there. So those agencies are our stakeholders. So not all of them, but these are some relevant stakeholders that we've been able to provide data and information based from our satellite that we received from the PEDRO Center.
Thank you, Sir Nash. So now we will proceed to the second C, which is the Davao Ground Receiving Station. Jenny, can you display the Davao GRS? Okay. The Davao Ground Receiving Station. Okay, so we're now at the second scene, which is the double ground receiving station. So now, for now, we will explore the radome beside this scene. We go there. So, fun fact, so the double ground receiving station was inaugurated last 2019. We, together with our beloved Secretary de la Peña and his delegates. And it's the largest tracking antenna in the Philippines, measuring 7.3 meters. So as you can see, so the scene is the same, or the radome rather is the same with the ASTI ground receiving station located in Quezon City, but it's bigger than the ASTI ground receiving station facilities radome. So as stated earlier, so the radome is used to protect the satellite tracking antenna for weather disturbances like Yolanda, like typhoons and other weather disturbances. So the antenna operates actually the same with the ASTI-GRS satellite tracking antenna. So the only difference is their size. So okay, now so let us proceed with the double ground receiving station control facility, which is actually a container van. So fun fact again, so the actual location of the double ground receiving station is in CAAP facility in Davao, or the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines. So yun, medyo maluwang yung location ng facility natin dito. So let's go inside. Let's go inside the double ground receiving station. So what you can see here is the server room that we have also in other ground receiving station facilities that we have all over the Philippines. So actually, the we have three ground receiving stations. So it is constructed in a way that to have a redundancy. So it's Davao ground receiving station and Iloilo ground receiving station serves as an auxiliary facility in case that there is an emergency or the ASTI-GRS facility in Quezon City will fail. So I think yun lang po for this tour in the double ground receiving station. So I will hand it over to Sir Nash and Sir Gerald for the satellite mission planning simulation. Sir Nash, Sir Gerald.
Hello, hello, there. Okay, hello. Gerald, kindly go to the, yeah, there. So here you could see our ground receiving station in Iloilo. So this was actually established last 2019, around November 2019. It is actually a 3.5 meter tracking antenna. So as you go around, you could see it has no radome, by the way, but it is located in Dumangas Climate Field School in Iloilo. So you could actually see here, this is actually a fence, a gated antenna. Then you could see here some the information on regarding this antenna. So we have a small operations room there at the second floor of the climate field school. So, but in this VR set, we just put it in a very small room. But inside this room, you can enter. So do we have a small conference room there, so that whenever there are staff going in this site, we have a small office and some computer server rack where staff on site can work. By the way, this ground receiving station is actually remotely operated from here in from our main office here in DOST-ASTI. So this antenna was actually funded through the ULAT project, as our colleague Adrian presented earlier, and it was made possible through the JICA funded program. So there. So that's all for the classification. So now we're now inside the satellite, our virtual satellite laboratory. So actually, we don't have this in real life, but for our audience, for our end users of the for the app, you could actually access this area. So you could have more details on our various satellites that we've been operated and also subscribed to. So you can see here our own satellite from Maya 1, even the decommissioned Diwata 1, and also the currently we're operating Diwata 2. So you, as you can see, once you click, once you press the information button in the satellite, you could actually call this rotate the satellite to see its 3D reconstruction, and also know some details on it. So we have optical and synthetic aperture radio satellite here. So this is actually the model of Novasar 1. So our synthetic aperture radar that's been co-owned by DOST-ASTI, our mission partner. So aside from that, we have synthetic aperture radar satellite, Cosmos SkyMed, which is we subscribe to, ComSat 3 from Korea, ComSat 5, synthetic aperture radar satellite as well, and Worldview 3 optical satellite. So this this satellite we've been operating and also subscribe are directly receiving data through the ground receiving stations that we have. So this satellite mission dashboard, you could actually see here samples of these images. So for optical images, you could actually see various samples here. Let's try clicking on Bagao. So actually you can see here, it's actually simulating here what satellite is doing during getting of data. So first, we're gonna upload commands, then the satellite is gonna capture the image and then download it through the ground receiving station again. So here, then through through the screens that I've shown you earlier inside the ASTI ground station, we could actually see the telemetry received from the satellite itself. So once the download is completed, we're gonna process the data set, and this data set is gonna be stored in our archive, and we can provide it to the public use. So you can actually see here satellite image from Diwata 1 over Bagao to Bigarao last August 2018. So this is from a typhoon. If I remember. So then also here synthetic aperture radar image. So you could actually also see sample of synthetic aperture radar. So you could click Taal. So same as before, gonna show some simulation on the satellite capturing the image and then downloading it through the ground receiving station, then processing, then you're gonna have an image to show. There. So this is actually a satellite image capture of Taal during its eruption last January 2020. Actually, those dark spots are possible ashfall during the time. So all these data sets are actually posted through our social media page, like the satellite watch. So Gerald, can you show the satellite watch? There. So you could actually access these images through our social media page. So you can visit www.facebook.com/thepedrocenter. So we've been regularly posting featured images there, and also those images are updated and also uploaded through this app. So yeah, so you could see here samples of images that we have posted before through the social media channel. Okay, I think that's all.
Thank you, Sir Nash. So lastly, I'll be discussing about the other features that you can do in the game. So for this one, it's just simple. And the satellites, you can interact with them. You can bump them, walk through them so they can rotate. You can jump over them. Okay. So so that you have the perspective on the top. And also, there are secret stages hidden for every scene, like for the ASTI-GRS, Iloilo GRS, Davao GRS, and the satellite. So the app will be regularly updated in the App Store. So if there's a notification on the Play Store, make sure to update it. And we will be uploading new features like this satellite watch, and we will and for the suggestions, we will make sure to consider it. And yeah, thank you for this demo. So I'll hand it over to Ivan.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Gerald, Mr. Kamama, and Mr. Prado for walking us through the ASTI VRS app. We all enjoyed the virtual experience of exploring the country's space infrastructure in this handy and interactive application. So for the last portion of our program, we will start the open forum and Q&A session with the ASTI VRS team and presenters. So to our speakers, please turn on your cameras and be ready to answer questions. For those who are streaming this event via Facebook Live, you may type your questions in the comment box. So may we welcome back Mr. Ivan Kamama as our Q&A moderator.
Thank you, Ted. Good day, everyone. I am Ivan from the PEDRO Center again, your moderator for the Q&A. There are still some questions for our space tech facilities as well as satellite capacities. We'll be answering 2 questions related to this, and we'll proceed with ASTI VRS question afterwards. The first question will be from Leo Almazan. So his question is there a thermal or IR cameras on any of our satellites? If yes, have we been doing ocean temperature collection on our surrounding waters? Thanks. Sir RK.
Hi, hello. So right now we don't have it on our own satellites pa. So we mostly have optical at yung sa Novasar din may radar. But there are open datasets na, di ba Sir Bry, na we have used.
Yeah. So yun nga ang the first yung meron ding open datasets like yung MODIS. So may mga satellites na kinukuha natin yung data nila, from Aqua and Terra, and then essentially they have bands na pwedeng i-process that can actually extract yung sea surface temperature. And then in the past, the PHL Microsat teams have been doing this na nag-extract tayo nung sea surface temperature sa mga oceans using yung free satellites ng MODIS, yung Aqua and Terra. And then also for the first question, yung IR, meron sanang IR yung isang satellite natin, yung na meron tayong subscription, yung COMSAT 3A, pero hindi siya pwedeng gamitin for our use. It's only for military use ng Korea. So yeah, tama sabi ni RK, we don't have currently right now. Yeah.
Thank you, Sir Bryce. So I think there are other two questions right now. So the other two questions are from Engineer Felverson Angeles from Naval Research and Technology Development Center of the Philippine Navy. The first one is, Sir, ma'am, how many times the GRS sends command to the satellite? Is the command intended daily, weekly, or monthly? Sir Nash or Sir Bryce, please answer the question.
Sige, Nash.
Actually, the commands are uploaded almost daily. So, max 3 days, but it's
Nash, may I interrupt you?
Sorry, there. As the commands are actually uploaded almost daily. Max is around 3 days, but we're not exceeding for a week for every after command. Yeah, we could say it's daily.
Okay, I hope that answers the questions of Sir Felverson. So the other question is for the ULAT project or the ULAT representative here. Does Project ULAT have the capability to forecast or project a storm surge at a specific time? I think Sir Adrian will answer this question. Sir Adrian?
Hello po. For that question po, as of now po, wala pa pong capability ng ganyan po si Project ULAT because as of now, we are still in the process po of collecting lighting data and studying po yung mga data po namin for weather analysis po.
Thank you, Adrian. So we will now move on for the ASTI VRS related questions. The first question is, what was the DOST-ASTI's motivation in developing the app? So I think the main developer can answer it. Sir Mark Gerald.
So hello guys. Yung motivation talaga is to make it known to the public na meron tayong space tech available and why is it needed or why is it important. Moreover than that, especially the pandemic hit, we had more motivation to make this virtual reality because yun nga, since walang NSTW, walang mga gatherings, and wala tayong mga tours sa PEDRO GRS or different facilities, parang this app made this possible. Yun nga lang, virtual reality, 3D model is a game. So ayun yung motivation namin to make it more accessible to others, and ayun nga, tulad ng sinabi nila Sir Ning kanina, para mas makilala natin yung space tech and kung bakit natin sila ginagamit and how they actually operate step by step by presenting it tulad kanina dun sa satellite mission. So that's all.
Thank you, Je. So there are other two questions related to the ASTI VRS app and I will answer it. So the first question is, do you have plans to launch ASTI VRS for more operating systems? And the second one is, do you have collaborations with schools to promote the ASTI VRS app among students? So first question, so we are looking forward to develop it in the future, the other platforms for iOS. So not for today, but in the future. So we will look into that. And the last question or another question is collaborations with the schools. As of now, we don't have any collaborations with any other school. So this is only an initiative of the team to promote space technologies to the reach of the Filipino people in their houses. So they can not physically attend or go to the facility. So we did this app.
Ivan, dagdag ko lang yung sa sa unang question, yung regarding sa iOS. Regarding it, actually pwede naman natin siya ma-port to iOS anytime sooner, but the problem will be iOS has stricter implementation of a game, like compared to Google Playstore, whereas you can upload the app as fast as 3 days, whereas sa iOS usually takes almost a month or more kasi may mga mas strict sila sa requirement. So ayun, yun sana nasagot namin yung sa iOS, kaya Android muna yung nagawa namin. So and to follow up na lang yung sa iOS. Thank you.
Thanks, Jets.
Ivan, maybe I'll add a few things on the second question. Although we don't have any active engagements with the schools, but it's of course a good idea to actually go out there and collaborate with schools para mas maganda yung use cases ng ating VR app. Yes, so we can actually explore collaborations and agreements with schools for purposes of using the VR app.
Hello? So the next question is, how do you ensure the security of the VR data? Do you require any security certification from the vendors? From Josephine Publico. So to answer that questions, hindi po kami nagko-collect ng data upon installing the app itself. So it's free. You can download it anytime you want. So yun po. Wala po kaming kino-collect na data, personal data. Kung meron man po, with your feedback po siguro from our email that will be flashed later on. So you can put your comments or feedback regarding the app on the email or email us. Thank you.
Ivan, to add to that, siguro being the head developer of the app, I can assure you that we're not collecting any data because ayun nga, ako yung gumawa. So wala kaming nire-require ni input or wala kaming kinukuhang information or like microphone or camera input about it. And yung mga informations naman, siguro yung isa pa dito, yung sa question is, siguro yung mga, kung yung info ba natin is, yung mga info displayed is secured ba? I think all of these are publicly available bago namin siya pinost, bago namin siya nilagay sa app. So yun lang.
Yes. Then another question from Ms. Joy Tanag. So where do you store this VR data? On-prem, in the cloud, or hybrid? Will there be future developments incorporating appropriate LiDAR technology capability to our satellites? And a follow-up question from Ms. Rafaela is, what new features are planned for future updates? So, okay, so for the first question, so for the VR data, so it's stored, well, the app is made by Unity, and we're not collecting data, personal information or data to the one who are installing it. So the resources, the assets are stored in Google Playstore itself. So the other question is, will there be future developments incorporating appropriate LiDAR technology capability to our satellites? Gerald, can you answer this one? Or Sir Bry?
Si Sir Brian na lang regarding this one.
Sige. Maybe magsabi ako, but the other na nandito can chime in, especially sila Joe from PhilSA. So yeah, right now, yun nga, meron si PhilSA na parang program for build ng mga satellites, no? And then we will continue to build satellites. So moving forward, baka I don't know kung meron part doon na incorporate yung LiDAR, but for now, naka-focus muna yung develop satellite, yung MULA, which is UK, yung mga Filipino engineers na pumunta sa UK para gawin to. It's the largest so far, no, na nagagawin ng Filipino engineers. Tapos afterwards, pero yung payload niya, it's still optical camera. So with regards to the future satellites, na since alam naman natin na for future satellites, ang path nito is through the Philippine Space Agency. So perhaps Joe can share a few things about the plans for satellite development in PhilSat.
Hi, hello. Good morning, Phil. So regarding the plans for satellite development, PhilSat, as mentioned earlier, we have the MULA satellite, and that is slated to be launched in 2023. Currently, kakabalik lang ng ating mga engineers from their training in the UK. They're already here in the Philippines, completing their quarantine procedures. Within the year, also, I think we'll be launching a couple more nano satellites in orbit through the Stamina for Space program. So those are things na antabayanan po natin this year.
Okay, thank you po, Sir Bry and Ms. Jo. So the other question is for future, what new feature updates are planned for future updates? I think Gerald can answer this. Actually, yes, Gerald.
So sa future updates, actually meron ng nakahanda. So make sure na i-update yung app nyo. So either tomorrow or this weekend ma-upload yung next update. So dun sa next update na yun, naglagay tayo ng mga mini games like football ganun, or like simple interactions na simple games lang. And then for like in the bigger picture naman, yung updates na pwede naming ilagay dito is to improve further the app, like add more details, make it more realistic, better textures, and siguro yung mga most comments after na ma-download yung app. So make sure to email us or comment yung mga features or yung mga bugs na nakita niya, so that we can fix it. So that's for the future updates. Siguro yung mga bigger features like other things, sila Sir Brian na ang makakaalam, and Pedro, kung ano yung ilalagay namin. Pero make sure to not uninstall the app para may notification for the new updates. Yan lang.
Thank you, Gerald. And fun fact din, kasi it is named ASTI VRS kasi in the first place, we have in mind na hindi lang PEDRO o facility yung i-highlight dun sa app. We can highlight other projects within the ASTI. So it's called ASTI VRS. So yun po. So another question is, what are your experiences during the making of the application? I think Gerald or me can answer this. But first, let's hear about the answer with Gerald.
Okay, so yun nga, siguro yung major challenge dito is nung parang more than a year namin to din na develop. So parang half of that time, yung app is towards VR talaga, virtual reality, yung tipong nakasuot ka ng goggles para ma-interact siya. So you will rely on gyroscope ng phone to move and interact. Pero ang na-realize nga namin is, yun nga, nag-pandemic. Parang kahit ako mismo, hindi ko matest siya ng maayos kasi nga, hindi ko mahanap yung VR goggles kasabay. So parang ang hassle naman na bumili pa na VR goggles just to experience fully the app. So sayang naman hindi ma-appreciate ng tao na walang ganun. So dun namin napag-usapan na why not make it handheld, or parang para ka lang naglalaro ng game na hindi mo kailangan ng kahit anong equipment to use it. So nung nangyari yun, syempre kailangan ulitin yung app and everything. So ayun yung isang mahirap na part. Tapos tawag dito, yung ibang experience pa namin dito is, one of the fun part and difficult part is ako, si Ivan and si Feby, is yung ginawa namin lahat ng 10 3D models inside the app from scratch. So that's challenging and at the same time fun. Kasi nga, yun nga, so we just based it on pictures available, and then we made it from the SketchUp app. So ayun, and then yung isa pang challenge siguro or experience is mas nung during the testing, pinapatest ko din sa nanay ko yon. And then dun ko na nga na-realize na mahirap nga yung unang version na nagre-rely sa gyro pag pinagamit mo sa matanda or sa bata or something na hindi naiintindihan. So, ayun nga. So, we are continuously updating the app to make it more user-friendly para mas maganda yung experience nyo. So, yun lang. So, I'll hand it over to Ivan and siguro si Feby din may masasabi about this.
So, I am also one of the developer of the app, though yung mga 3D assets and other stuffs and contents lang. So, I will hand over to Feby. I want you to share your experience in making the app, Feby.
Hello, good morning po sa lahat.
Ayun po.
So, to answer the question po, the challenges, well, first of all, since pandemic, mahirap yung coordination within the team. So, kailangan lagi kang ready sa updates and kung ano yung progress ng project niyo. Also, meron, yung iba sa amin, hindi pa nakarating sa Davao or hindi pa nakita personally yung facilities. So, medyo nagkakaroon ng difficulty na gawin yung mga 3D models. And also dun sa satellite models din, hindi lahat merong mechanical drawings. So, kailangan namin gawing up to scale yung lahat ng models. So, I think hindi rin lang ako yung naka-experience ng difficulty doon. Si Ivan and si Gerald din share the same sentiments. Pero the fun part is natuto kami gumamit ng SketchUp and na-explore namin yung other 3D modeling software na dagdag din po sa learnings namin and experience. Yun lang. Ivan.
Ayun. Thank you, Feb. Tama yun. So, I think nasabi na ng lahat yung mga sagot sa mga questions. So, I think that is the last question related to ASTI VRS app. So thank you very much for all the questions. Since we're up on time, we'll only be able to answer one more question. For any other queries, you can send us an email via media@asti.dost.gov.ph. Last question is, why is it called a VR when the app is not using the actual VR devices? So I think Gerald can answer that.
Okay, so from kanina pa, nasagot na namin siya. So, but to make it clear, yun nga, originally the plan was to make it VR device. So, that's why it's DOST-ASTI VRS with the letter S. So, it's not ASTI VR, but ASTI VRS. So, yun nga, So, to reiterate, originally VR talaga siya. Pero since hindi nga lahat may VR goggles to experience the VR experience, we made it handheld, so that we can experience the app without using any VR goggles or buying anything, just your phone. So, ayun lang. Sana malinaw yung concept na yun. Pero siguro abangan nyo in the future updates na we'll make this VR app talaga that requires a VR goggle. So, stay tuned.
Thank you, Gerald. Last of the last, or sorry, because this one's interesting. How long did you complete the data models for VR?
Siguro, sige ko. Ako na muna siguro. Actually, ito din siguro yung isang part na matagal. And I mean, since we started, wala kaming idea on 3D modeling porting to Unity. There are issues na face namin. So normally kaya natapos namin siya like around 3 to 5 months. Pero parang problema dun is since iba't iba kaming ng style ng paggawa ng 3D model, there are issues when you port it inside the Unity, yung game engine kung saan namin ginawa yung app. So from there we continuously edit and update it, improve it, make it lightweight, ganun. So, tumagal siya for more than a year kasi parang pag ginamit na namin yung model, dun pa lang lalabas yung problem dun sa game engine. So, and sila Ivan and Feby, may thoughts din sila sa experience nila.
Ayun, so for me, nung development stage nung VR app, so ang hardest part nga doon is yung 3D modeling. Then, iba yung software ibang 3D modeling software yung ginagamit ko sa kanila. I am using Blender while they are using SketchUp. So, yung pag-import, export yung mga models to and from Unity medyo nagkaroon ng hurdle doon. But in the end, nagkaano din naman, naayos din naman at the very least. So, I think that is the last question. So thank you very much for being with us today. Please reach us out via our social media pages or via email at media@asti.dost.gov.ph. We hope you enjoyed simulations as much as we did. Thank you very much po and mabuhay po.
Okay, so thank you very much, Sir Ivan, and to our speakers for answering the questions. So to cap off this event, may we call on the Director of DOST-ASTI, Dr. Franz Asunta de Leon, to deliver his closing remarks.
All right, so thank you, Therese. Kanina, habang nagpe-present, I called my 7-year-old daughter. Sabi ko sa kanya, do you know what satellites are? So wala naman ako in-expect na sagot sa kanya. And then my daughter said, parang wala lang, are these the objects that are floating in space? Sabi ko talaga, alam mo yan, may idea ka ng satellite. I can't remember when I was 7 that I could answer the same question as her. All right. And then sabi ko sa kanya, do you know that there's an app wherein you could explore and learn about the different satellites and also explore the different antennas that receives the data? Sabi niya, really? So don't forget to download the app later, okay? So sabi ko, okay. Sige. So ibig sabihin, the curiosity is there. Akong kausap ko is just a child. So ibig sabihin, this project really has a lot of potential, di ba? To inform and even inspire the younger generation. So we hope na maraming Pilipino ang makaalam about this virtual app. And also, we expect our partners in our, of course, the media to share about this good news. So we'd like to thank everyone who is present this morning, our colleagues from the DOST, of course, the Secretary de la Peña, and Yusek Rowena Guevara, who's here with us. So good morning, ma'am. Our stakeholders and those who work together with us here in ASTI and the PEDRO Center to ensure our continued operations, and to our friends in the media and the public. So thank you for your continued support and for engaging with us here during the ASTI VRS launch. Today was an exciting day for all of us here in ASTI as we presented to you with this all-new virtual reality simulation app. This initiative has been something our team has been working on since last year, and we are enormously proud to finally share with you the results of everyone's hard work and motivation. So once again, the ASTI VRS app is already available for download in the Google Playstore for free. So we are also working towards making this app compatible with the VR headsets in the future. We hope that this will open new avenues for exploration and discovery, especially in S&T. These new techniques in communication brought us closer to knowledge more than ever. One day, we will not even need to leave the comforts of our home and travel far to get the full experience of a place and learn about it. This event serves as an opportunity to learn about the available space infrastructure in the country, and we hope that everyone can also take part in this experience. So we call on everyone, especially the parents, teachers, to share the ASTI VRS app to their children and students, and we hope that this will steer curiosity about space technology. So magandang agham po sa kanilang lahat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director De Leon. And that brings us to the end of today's ASTI VRS app launch. We encourage you to please share the app to your friends, family, and colleagues. On behalf of the entire Department of Science and Technology, Advanced Science and Technology Institute, thank you very much for being with us this morning. This has been Therese Kilnat, your moderator. Stay safe, stay curious, and have a great day ahead.